Jacious Sears was once the fastest woman in the world. Then an injury stopped her before the Olympic trials. Many people thought her big moment was gone, but in 2026, she came back and surprised everyone. On March 1st, 2026, at the Ocean Breeze Athletic Complex in Staten Island, New York, an exciting moment took place on the indoor track. The athletes lined up for the women's 60-meter final at the USA Track and Field Indoor Championships. 8 runners settled into their starting blocks, ready for a race that would be decided in just a few seconds. When the gun fired, Jacious Sears burst out of the blocks with incredible speed. Just over 7 seconds later, she crossed the finish line first with a time of 7.04 seconds. With that run, Sears won the first national title of her career and confirmed her strong comeback. For many fans watching the race, the moment was a celebration of raw speed and athletic excellence. For Jacious Sears, however, the victory represented something far deeper. It was the culmination of a long journey filled with promise, frustration, injury, recovery, and determination. Her win in Staten Island was not simply about becoming the fastest woman in the 60-meter dash that day. It was about reclaiming a career that had once seemed destined for greatness before being suddenly interrupted. Jacious Sears had already built a reputation as one of the most exciting young sprinters in American track and field. Her rise through the sport was marked by explosive acceleration, exceptional stride efficiency, and the type of natural speed that cannot be taught. Coaches and analysts frequently pointed out that Sears possessed the rare combination of technical discipline and raw athletic ability that defines elite sprinters. By the time the 2024 season arrived, Sears had reached a remarkable level of form. In fact, she entered the U.S. Olympic trials that year as the fastest woman in the world for that season in the 100 meters. Her performances leading into the trials had generated enormous excitement. Many believed she had a legitimate chance to make the U.S. Olympic team and compete on the global stage at the Paris Olympic Games. The Olympic trials are one of the most intense competitions in athletics. The United States produces some of the fastest sprinters on Earth, and earning a place on the Olympic team often requires world-class performances simply to qualify. For Sears, the trials represented the moment when all her preparation could translate into the opportunity of a lifetime. But sport does not always follow the path athletes imagine. Just before the trials began, injury struck. The setback forced Sears to withdraw from the competition entirely. Instead of stepping onto the track to compete for an Olympic spot, she was suddenly watching from the sidelines. The disappointment was enormous. Athletes train for years with the Olympic Games in mind, and missing the trials after entering as the fastest woman in the world created a painful chapter in her career. Injuries in sprinting are particularly difficult to overcome. The sport places extreme demands on the body. Muscles must generate explosive power within milliseconds. Tendons and joints absorb tremendous force with every stride. Even a small injury can disrupt rhythm, timing, and confidence. For Sears, the months following the injury became a period of reflection and rebuilding. Physical recovery required patience. Sprint training had to be carefully adjusted. Each workout focused on gradually restoring strength, flexibility, and speed without risking further setbacks. Recovery is not only physical, it is also psychological. Elite athletes often measure their identity through performance. When injuries remove the ability to compete, athletes must confront doubts and frustrations that few people outside the sport truly understand. Sears approached that challenge with determination. Rather than rushing her return, she and her coaching team focused on rebuilding the foundation of her sprinting mechanics. Starts, acceleration phases, and stride patterns were refined during countless training sessions. The goal was not simply to return to competition, but to come back stronger and more complete as a sprinter. The 2025 season became part of that rebuilding process. While she showed flashes of her old speed, the primary focus remained on consistency and health. Each race provided valuable feedback. Each training cycle brought her closer to the explosive form that had once placed her at the top of the global rankings. By the time the 2026 indoor season arrived, something was clearly changing. Observers began noticing that Sears looked sharper and more confident. Her starts were aggressive and controlled. Her acceleration phase was powerful. The rhythm of her stride suggested that the speed which had once made her the fastest woman in the world during the 2024 season had not disappeared. It had simply been waiting for the right moment to return. That moment arrived at the USA Track and Field Indoor Championships. The Indoor Championships are one of the most important events on the American track calendar. The competition brings together the best athletes from across the country, each one chasing national titles and qualification for international championships. The 60-meter dash is a particularly intense event indoors. Unlike the outdoor 100 meters, there is no time to settle into the race. Everything happens instantly. Reaction time, explosive power out of the blocks, and the ability to accelerate smoothly determine the outcome. When Sears stepped onto the track in Staten Island, the atmosphere was electric. Spectators filled the stands, aware that the women's sprint final would feature some of the fastest athletes in the nation. The athletes moved through their warm-ups with intense focus. Sprinting at this level requires complete concentration. Every detail matters, from the placement of the starting blocks to the angle of the first step. As the finalists were introduced, Sears stood calmly among them. The journey that had brought her to this moment was long and challenging, but now everything came down to a single race. The runners settled into their blocks. Silence spread across the arena as the starter prepared the field. The gun fired. Sears reacted instantly. Her start was explosive. In the first few strides, she established strong momentum, driving forward with controlled aggression. The acceleration phase is where many 60-meter races are won or lost, and Sears executed it perfectly. Within seconds, the race reached top speed, arms pumping, legs striking the track with incredible force. The athletes surged toward the finish line. Sears maintained her form throughout the race. Her stride remained powerful and efficient as she edged ahead of the field. When she crossed the finish line, the clock displayed 7.04 seconds. It was enough to secure the victory. The result delivered the first national title of her career. For spectators, it was an impressive sprint performance. For Sears, it was the culmination of a comeback story that had taken nearly 2 years to complete. The significance of the moment extended beyond the medal itself. Winning a national championship confirmed that Sears had successfully returned to elite competition after the disappointment of missing the Olympic trials. Times in the 60-meter dash can also offer insight into an athlete's potential for the outdoor season. A performance like 7.04 seconds places Sears among the fastest indoor sprinters in the world. It suggests that her explosive speed remains intact and that she could become a major factor when the outdoor 100-meter season begins. The victory also secured her place as a leading American contender heading into the upcoming World Indoor Championships in Poland. That event will bring together elite sprinters from across the globe, creating an opportunity for Sears to test herself against international competition once again.